Hey, it's Don from RV Business Coach here. In the last couple of videos, I talked about several reasons why businesses fail. And one of the reasons I talked about is because the entrepreneur or the business owner just isn't doing the work. And so I kind of wanted to talk about that today because that seems like a little bit of a strange thing. And I just wanted to talk about that some. One of the primary reasons why people don't do what they need to be doing is they don't know the next step. You're kind of stuck. You don't know what to do. And therefore, obviously, it's not going to get done. The other thing that happens sometimes is you actually know the next step, but you're not sure how to do it. And so again, you're kind of stuck. You don't know how to get through that. So that's another thing that can happen. Both of those are easily solved by getting someone that holds you accountable or someone knowledgeable that can teach you how to do it and move you through. Another thing that happens sometimes that's kind of scary is you know what to do and you know how to do it, but it's still not getting done. And why is that? Well, a lot of times, maybe that's just a matter of prioritization. Taking a look at all the things you're doing and figuring out, am I really spending my time on the most important things? Procrastination is really just a prioritization issue, I think. It's like, oh, I know I need to pick up the phone and reach out to that potential customer. But before I do that, let me play this computer game. And before I know it, 45 minutes have gone by and I didn't have a chance to call the customer. That's just a matter of not prioritizing things correctly, or maybe something that I'll talk about in just a minute. Another possibility on why you're not getting things done is because you just feel overwhelmed. Now, overwhelm is kind of a funny word because just saying you're overwhelmed kind of reinforces that overwhelm. When I was going to Book Yourself Solid conferences, we actually had a rule against saying I struggle with something or I'm overwhelmed with something. And the reason for that is both of those words just kind of reinforce themselves. If you say I'm struggling, you feel more struggle. If you say I'm overwhelmed, you feel more overwhelmed. But I actually thought we probably should admit when we're overwhelmed, but we should use Matthew Kimberly's definition. Matthew says that overwhelm is not having too much to do. It's not knowing the next step. And I think that's really the case a lot of times. It goes back to the first thing I talked about, not knowing what your next step is. I've been recently rereading Getting Things Done by David Allen. And one of the things that's hit me on this reread is the realization you don't have to know every step of a project when you get started. You need to know what the end of the project looks like. How am I going to know when I'm done? And you need to know what's the next step I can take towards getting there. And funny enough, I wrote a blog about this a couple of years ago about just taking one step at a time. So I'll link to that blog down below and you can read it as well if you're interested. So that's the thing on overwhelm is a lot of times it's a matter of not saying you're overwhelmed as much as just looking to see what's the next step I can make. How can I get something moving and start making some progress? And then another reason why maybe we know what to do and we didn't get it done, and this may be the case in that example I gave of where you're playing computer games instead of calling a potential client, is because we're not comfortable being outside our comfort zone. Now, that's kind of by definition, right? If you're comfortable with it, you're probably in your comfort zone. If you're not comfortable with it, you're probably not in your comfort zone. And that's a topic for a whole nother video. I will talk about that in a future video about how do we get comfortable being outside our comfort zone and how do we deal with that. But for now, I really wanted to think about, do you know what the next step is? Do you know how to do that next step? And are you able to get moving on those steps? So if you're struggling, I hate to use that word, if you're having trouble with any of those, if you're not sure what your next step should be, or you know what your next step should be, but you're not getting it done anyway, you know what your next step is, but you know how to do it, or you know the step and you know how to do it, but you're not getting it done. Those are actually all things I can help you with. So if you would like some help, if you saw yourself in any of this and you'd like some help breaking through it, be happy to jump on the phone, spend a half hour or so with you and see if I can't help you. To do that, just go to chatwithdon.com. I'll put that link down below here, chatwithdon.com, and book yourself a session and let's hop on the phone and talk about what's going on and whether or not I can help you. Okay, that's it. Have a great week. Hope to talk to you soon. Bye.